The Utah Jazz travel to Sacramento and open the 25-26 season on the road with a loss, but they made a heck of a game of it. Let's talk about it.
Jazz Smack, NBA and Utah Jazz basketball.
So that was a very entertaining game, and it was close throughout, which we like to see. I thought the guys played very hard, especially on the defensive end. Unlike the game against the Clippers on opening night in the Delta Center, the Sacramento Kings, to their credit, something that isn't typically accustomed to Sacramento Kings fans, Sacramento really got into the Jazz defensively, and that caused some problems. I mean, the offense struggled mightily tonight compared to that first game in the Delta Center. You know, it was very often, we use this term disjointed, and it was somewhat disjointed tonight. Now, the Jazz, their field goal percentage wasn't particularly good tonight. They shot 44% in the field. But on the other hand, they did defend, and they gave themselves a chance to win at the end. Now, this is a development year, so the wins and losses still aren't necessarily really important. We just really want to see the guys improve and play hard and make these games competitive, which the Jazz certainly did tonight, and they did that on the defensive end, which is really where we want to see things go on the road. Now, they did struggle to defend the three tonight. Sacramento shot a really high percentage from three. They had quite a few open looks from three. Malik Monk made a number of threes in tonight's game. But aside from that, overall, I was pleased with the effort. And first and foremost, I want to see effort. And that's something that I think we did see tonight. And so I'm happy with the result, even though the Jazz did lose. I don't think the wins and losses this year are the most important thing. The Jazz still want to hold on to that draft pick, so that they owe to Oklahoma City if it's outside of the top 10. So I think this result tonight was actually really good, and it's really positive considering the effort they did place on the defensive end and how well that went.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I'll say this. I've seen some criticisms of other commentators that said we got to tank, we got to lose, we got to lose. The reality is, let's just set the table set. When we're in a development year, what we really want to do is we want to see players play hard. We want to see them be competitive, as you said. We want to see the right people that may be part of the future getting the minutes to see if they can make it or not, or to develop. The reality is we can't win at too many games as part of that. That's not meaning we're trying to tank, we're trying to we're trying to intentionally lose. But the reality is if you set up the system right, you're going to lose games. And the game number one was unexpected. It was exciting. It was fantastic. But the reality is we need to hang on to our draft pick this year. We all know that as fans. And we need another high draft pick because we need another shot at the goal. So this was a great outcome for that because, 2 games in a row, Hardy's non-defensive teams have played pretty good defense. And I think we have to acknowledge that. And guys are playing hard. And that's great to see. The other thing I wanted to say on the offensive part of that is that, Will gets a lot of credit for being creative offensively. And I think great. To give him credit for that, if, to the extent that he's creative offensively. When it comes down to playoffs, the ball movement, all of the schemes, when defenses clamp down, like they did tonight for Sacramento, the reality is you need some one-on-one players on your team that can score at, beat somebody that's guarding him close. And so we need those type of players on our team because all of Will's schemes aside are good in the regular season and they will create some open shots, but you still need those guys that can just get a bucket when you need them. And honestly, we traded away those guys. So, I think you're seeing the good defense offsetting good offense. And I think that happens in the NBA. And I think it's indicative of what will happen in the playoffs when the Jazz eventually get there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And even in the regular season, you go on the road, defense, I mean, if you don't defend, it's going to be really, really difficult to win games on the road. I mean, the Jazz can always win games at home with that home court advantage, with the elevation and all that. But if you want to win on the road consistently, you got to defend. And that's what we really want to see. Yeah, the Jazz don't have a lot of guys that can create their own baskets right now. Lauri a bit. Keyonte wants to be that. Not yet, but he certainly, you can see it in his face. He wants to be that. I'm not convinced that he's ever going to be that. But obviously the hope is for Ace to become a situational guy that you can, when the going gets tough, you can give him the ball and he can create a good enough look for himself, or if he gets doubled, a teammate, that we can still have a somewhat of a cohesive offense where it just doesn't break down and become an absolute mess. So yes, to add one more of those guys, I think would be extremely helpful. On the other hand, there are some really positive things that, we had 2 draft picks this year. Ace is coming off an illness, and he doesn't look like he has his legs under him, in all honesty, at this point.
Great.
But Walt has looked really good in the minutes that he has received. He looks very comfortable. Yes, he still made some mistakes. He's going to make a lot more mistakes, but all signs are really positive that the Jazz have 2 guys that can be part of the long term, and that's a win-win-win from this last draft.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you and I talked in the off season, and honestly, this was my opinion. I'm not sure you said the same thing, although I think you may have, is that Ace has some incredible abilities. Like, his shot goes up so fast, he's confident, etc. So even though he struggled the first 2 games, and I think it is illness, but even though he struggled, we don't care. I mean, this guy's got some skills. You're just like, whoa, this guy has got it. At the same time, the guy who I think out of the 2 that's going to show more this year potentially could be Walt, because he's older, he has more years of experience, etc. And he's got a well-rounded skill set. How many rebounds did he get again tonight? Like another 5? Did he add in rebounds again?
Yeah, he added another 5. Yeah.
I mean, in 20 minutes? Like, is this Russell Westbrook out there? I mean, it's the kid is, like you said, he reminds you of Darren Williams. He is a tough guy. And that is a real skill in the NBA. You want tough guys that'll battle it out, and he has that. Plus, he's got an incredible shots. So, we have a find there. And everybody is talking about Ace, but we got to find there on Walt. And yeah, I know it's 2 games, so you can't get overhyped about it, but he just shows an incredible skill set.
Yeah, he's always playing under control. And I think one of the things that the Jazz need long term is the reason I wanted the Jazz to draft Darren so much is I want the Jazz to have a leader. And I could see that at Illinois. Darren was a natural leader. Yeah, he wasn't a natural point guard with like John Stockton or Steve Nash like point guard skills, but I thought he could grow into an acceptable point guard with those passing skills, and he certainly did that. And Darren was certainly the leader of that team, aside from Coach Sloan. And I think this Jazz group still needs a leader. I'm not sure Ace is that guy. I think Walt is more likely to become that guy over anybody else on the roster right now. That's my feeling. And I still maintain that. I hope that Walt becomes the second version of Darren. That's my hope. And we'll see. I mean, he has a long way to go to become what Darren was at his peak in terms of running an offense, passing the ball and everything. But Darren was also, he he grew up in a really point guard friendly offense because Sloan really likes running a point guard centric offense, regardless of whether it was the offense of Stockton Malone or something that morphed into later that wasn't the Stockton Malone offense. It's still a very point guard friendly offense. So Walt's not going to rack up those type of assist numbers. I don't foresee that, but I think that he can lead the team from the point guard position.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, I'm you told me that you were really impressed with Walt. You wanted him to be drafted as a team. I didn't watch him at all in college. I didn't watch a ton of college basketball, so I didn't really know. But I've been very impressed so far with him. And honestly, the thing that I'm probably least impressed with is his shooting, because it's been inconsistent, in which a lot of young players go through. They come in, they just lose their confidence, and they don't hit it. But I don't think any of us think that Walt's not going to be a great shooter. I mean, his just form and his smoothness is getting up. We know he's going to be able to shoot, just like we knew about Brice. And honestly, what you and I felt about Flip, we think he's going to be a good shooter too, because we watched him. We're like, okay, that guy looks good. It's just not going in, but eventually it will. Versus like a guy like Keyonte, which we're not sure about, right? We don't know if he's ever going to be the great shooter. So I think we got there. But the other interesting thing is that I didn't think that Hardy was going to start Filipowski, and maybe he doesn't long term, but I do think that tall lineup we have is playing some dividends, and I'll give some credit for that too, because you look at Flip's box score, two guys that were the DNP guys last year, Sensabaugh and Filipowski, which you and I like, what the heck? Why are they getting the DNPs? Because we think that they both had skills. Now they're getting some points, and they both looked good. I mean, Flip didn't get 25 minutes and not huge points, but he was at the minimum rebound level, but he got the assists again, which really helps if you get some assists from that level. And Sensabaugh too. I don't know. It'll be interesting at the end of the year, see where Sensabaugh ends up in 3-point percentage, because I don't know a lot of guys that are as good as he is. Look, it's hard not to put Curry on top of those lists, because you just see like the crazy shots that guy hits, including like in last game where he just won the game on his own. But Sensabaugh is so good at shooting the 3-point ball.
Yeah, Curry's release is really impressive because it's so fast, and Sensabaugh doesn't have that. I mean, Brice's release isn't slow, but that Curry release is really very unique. So it's hard to say that anybody is above Curry. I mean, it's at this point at this current time in the NBA. But yeah, Brice has been good. And I still think that Brice is going to end up, he played 22 minutes tonight, and I think he's going to end up at the end of the season, I think he'll end up somewhere around 22 to 25 minutes a game. I think that Hardy's going to have to play him. I mean, you can't just put him on the bench. Obviously, I still don't believe that Svi is going to end up averaging 20 minutes a game through the season. It just can't. Mm-hmm. There's too few minutes as is. And after Collier comes back, after Niang comes back, after all these guys are returned, like, you just can't. And Cody, again, tonight, a DNP. And we all know that we'd like to see Cody play from a defensive standpoint. We'd like to see him play. So, Svi can't keep playing. That's the bottom line. I don't dislike Svi, but it's just they're in a really tough spot with minutes. But anyway, let's take a look at the box score. But one of the things the previous night and in that one preseason game, the big guys got all these assists. Lauri got a bunch of assists. Walker got a bunch of assists. And tonight, that in-your-face defense where they were really pressuring the perimeter really bothered those guys, and things just didn't work out. And so both of those guys had one assist, and Walker had one assist against 6 turnovers. He turned the ball over a lot. Lauri had one assist and 1 turnover. Kyle, on the other hand, one of the things that is so nice to have Kyle in the lineup is his ability to pass the ball, and that helps immensely to have a second passer on the floor, assuming that you have at least one of the guards that's a passer. Now, with this Jazz starting lineup, Kyle is clearly the best passer on the team in this starting lineup, but eventually Kyle should be the second best passer in the lineup, and somebody else will be better than him. In my view, right now, I don't think Keyonte, even though Keyonte got 10 assists tonight against 4 turnovers, I don't view Keyonte as a superior passer to Kyle. I actually, I don't believe that. But again, the 4 assists from Kyle, really nice number.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, let's not take away from the 10 assists that Keyonte has, because it was 9 and now 10. So that's great, Keyonte. But I'll also say that, Keyonte, 6 for 12 last game, 5 for 15 this game, 1 for 6 this game, 0 for 7. Was it last game? 0 for 6, something like that.
I think 1 for 7.
Okay, so we're reverting back to, it's only 2 games. You can't overreact. But the shooting, okay, you're getting the good assists, but, it's like a combination and like no rebounds again. So, and then you look at Svi, he has 0 assists and, playing guard. So your point of, Kyle was the other guy I was going to tell you that, we're thinking Ace is going to be the guy that can be the one-on-one player. I absolutely agree with that. I think also it wouldn't surprise me if Walt could do it as well. But the other guy that we saw do it in the Summer League, I think could do it is Kyle. So I think Kyle's going to continue to, be able to create his own shot, but he just does so many things. He rebounds the ball, he shoots the ball, he assists. He's got a good handle for his size. He just does so many things well that I think having him in the lineup really helps. You blame the defense for some of the, and you're probably right in the analysis, but Walker had 1 shot. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck? 1 shot. I don't really understand that. And then Keyonte had 15.
Yeah. That's an underutilized. I mean, Walker got significant minutes tonight too. He nearly played 30 minutes, so he was 1 for 1 from the field and 1 for 2 on free throws, and 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, 6 turnovers. Hardy's going to have to figure out a better way to consistently utilize Walker so that he has an opportunity to score some points. Like, you just can't. Like I said when we were making predictions on Walker, what his ending numbers would be, I thought that his ending point totals would be, his average would be similar to what it was last year. I didn't think it was going to change a whole lot, because I just didn't think he was going to get opportunities. And I think this is representative of that. It's going to be very inconsistent. There aren't going to be any plays run for him. He's going to have to get his points off of lobs and offensive putbacks. Like, that's what he's stuck with, just because of this 5-out offense that Will Hardy is essentially married to at this point. It seems after 3 years, that's certainly what I believe. So it's going to be few and far between for Walker.
Yeah, but you would think you could run some lobs or some backdoors more than one, and he's going to get some. He actually got fewer offensive rebounds, so maybe that's why he had fewer shots today. But it just seems to me that you shouldn't have one of your top players, your favorite player, and honestly, maybe he's even the top player. Like, we don't know. I mean, he's a very unique player. I mean, Lauri gets all the credit. We both think Lauri is great, but Walker's, his rebounding, his defense, his block shots, etc., like fantastic offensive rebounds directly. Like, we need to get more than 1 shot, or Hardy needs to get more than 1 shot. So,
I agree. He needs more opportunities. Like, you expect all this, you expect so much from him, and then he's running all these high pick and rolls and everything where he's exerting the most energy on the offensive end in actuality in running all those plays, and yet he ends up with 1 attempt from the field, which is And it's just unfortunate. Like I'd like to see more development opportunities for him as well. He had two nice lefts in that last game. I mean, he from right to left across the lane. He had a nice left, and then he had that little half hook. That was a really nice shot. It's not an easy shot. So I still want to see further development opportunities for Walker.
Yeah, absolutely. That's we all do. So I think that's something. Well, we'll just have to watch how it plays out in the game. And it's like at this point we're both kind of blaming the illness for Ace, but he just hasn't looked the same. Now, having said that, he's going to have some really ups and downs this year. Every rookie does. He's going to have some terrible games. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I also see him having some real breakout games. Like Edgecombe had a real breakout game, and he'll have the ups and downs too, right? I mean, particularly on his team where there's going to be games he gets no shots at all because Embiid's like taking all the shots, and Maxey never wants to pass the ball, right? So, but every one of these guys is going to have ups and downs. But you have anything else on the box score?
No, other than I actually want Ace to go through some struggles. I think that would benefit him to go through some significant struggles this year, and I anticipated him going through some significant struggles this year, and I think that'll be good for him long term. So I don't want things to come easy for him at the first. I want to fight through some things and have some real downs that he has to overcome. And certainly getting sick, in the preseason and having to overcome that, and the difficulties at the start of this season, I think are part of that process, and I think that's really good for him. In all honesty.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you remember, like when Jordan came in, they were like these thin guys. Curry, the same thing, and then they got beat up. And you know what they did? The great players, they hit the gym in the summer, they get stronger, et cetera. I mean, we want that from Ace. I mean, we want him to have some great games so he shows his potential and he gets his confidence up. At the same time, we want him knocked around. We want Sabonis like giving him an elbow, right? And, so he has to toughen up because that's how you become a great player. Or the players that have that happen to them and react to them and deal with it and overcome it they're the ones that turn out to be great players.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, that's all I have in terms of the box score.
What about what else is on your agenda for tonight?
Well, I think that pretty much covers it. I was going to mention that I think that Sacramento is going to struggle again this year. Unfortunately for the Kings fans, I think they have a really poor mix of players. And I think they're going to go through some struggles once again. Unfortunately, I think that team, that franchise, has gone through a heck of a lot, but I don't foresee it changing this season.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. As who would you rather be, a Jazz fan or a Kings fan? I was telling somebody this. I was asking that question because I was thinking about it. Because I'm in the area where Kings are one of the teams, and boy, what a terrible situation to be a Sacramento Kings fan, because we blew a couple of years of not getting high draft picks. We both think that. I think a lot of fans think that. Some fans don't think that, but you and I think that. At the same time, where's Sacramento going? They traded away De'Aaron Fox. They got a nothing package back. They signed Levine. It became a mess. Where are they going? And honestly, they gave a big contract to Keegan Murray. I don't, personally, I don't think he deserves that contract. I don't think he's that level of player. And so if you're a Kings fan, you got to be depressed, to be honest with you. Whereas I think the Jazz have a lot of bright future, a ton of draft picks still. We got some young guys that are underrated nationally. I think there's a lot to be excited. I agree with you. Completely agree with you. But there was another couple of games, and it's 2 games into the season. So, I don't want to overreact to it, but there's been some interesting scores. And in one, like I was looking at tonight, Dallas is 0-2. A lot of people were picking Dallas to be, given that they have Davis and Clay and everybody's like, jumping on Cooper Flag, they were, like projecting to be a better team. And it's 2 games, you can't tell, but like they're 0-2. So, I found that interesting. It'd be interesting to see how Sacramento or Dallas does this year. I honestly thought they were going to be better too. So I'm actually surprised they're 0-2. Another team that's 0-2 is Houston. Now, they almost won in Oklahoma City on opening night, but they're 0-2. Detroit went there and beat them. That was really interesting. And then Golden State tonight won the big one where Curry went crazy in overtime. Is it overtime? I think it's overtime to beat the Nuggets. And then they went to Portland tonight without their coach, and got clubbed. So, and that doesn't surprise me because I think Golden State, with their age, they're going to be resting guys. Not that they did tonight, but given that they won on the road in LA to open the season, beat a really good Denver Nuggets team, and then got clubbed tonight. I thought all 3 of those games were interesting.
Yeah, I actually haven't even looked at the scores because I was hoping I actually like to watch some of those games. I'm trying to avoid the scores. It's okay.
Yeah, well,
now
you know.
Yeah, I'm going to try. I just won't watch the Dallas game, so I'll avoid that and the Houston game. But anyway, yeah, we'll see. Going back to what you said about Portland and Chauncey and stuff, the NBA, you've got to take care of this. You've got to make your results legitimate. If people are cheating, get rid of those guys. Just banish them from the league. I mean, this is inexcusable. Like more of this gambling crap. I mean, I don't gamble. I don't have any interest in gambling. But if there are guys that are point shaving or doing whatever else, those guys need to be out of the league permanently. So they need to fix this. There's another thing Silver needs to fix. I mean, this is absurd.
Yeah, I saw something on ESPN and I didn't read the article. Maybe I won't tell you this either if you haven't read it yet, but I'll tell you this one because this is not like game specific. It was something about Silver being upset about this, but one of the things I want to read the article on is that Silver being upset because 2 of the guys were like where he felt it was unjust prosecution and he's like blaming Trump for some sort of unjust prosecution, or is he actually like upset about it because he thinks, look, we got to stop this in the game? And I'm not sure, but I have heard some of the people like saying, I think it was Stephen A. Smith, like jumping on like, how can you come after these guys? It sounds to me like they actually did. I don't know. I don't have all the facts, right? But it actually sounds like they did something really wrong that should have them absolutely banished. It has no part in the game. It's completely against the competitiveness. And if they did even a hint of that, they should be out of the game. Completely agree with that. And Stephen A. Smith, you shouldn't be defending them, right? It's not like whether you like Trump or not like Trump. I don't know if Trump was involved in this or not. It doesn't matter. This game is all about integrity of like trying to win and not trying to lose and not trying to miss shots. If any of that is like a hint of that with a person, somebody does it, like get them out of the game. I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's Mr. Big Shot, right? I like Mr. Big Shot, but at the same time, if some of these allegations are true, I completely agree with it. There's no part, he can't be any part of this game. So I hope that Silver is not doing like the Stephen A. Smith and saying, "Oh yeah, like in unjust." Like I don't think there's unjust prosecution. I think that there's like that they were indicted because they're actually belief that they did this. They did something that should have no part in the game.
Well, I think it's been an ongoing investigation for a long time. I don't think this has anything to do with one administration or the other. I think it's been an ongoing thing with, Jonte Murray or,
his brother.
Jonte Porter, not Jonte Murray, Jonte Porter. So and with Malik Beasley, and I think this is an ongoing thing. I don't think this started recently. But they have to clean this up. I mean, this is a disaster. You just cannot have an illegitimate results. You can't have illegitimate results that people don't have any faith in. I mean, it's gross. In all honesty, it's just gross. The whole thing. It's just gross.
Yeah, it's boxing. It's boxing all over again. And one of the things Silver has not done, he hasn't been tough on anything. right? He's been just let it go and let's try to make everybody get along. And so a lot of the, like you and I have been very critical of the tanking because even though we've been encouraging, like last year, we're like, okay, for the way you play this game is you lose game. That is terrible for the league. You should never have an incentive to lose a basketball game. You should put out the best team you can to try to win the basketball game. That's what we all want to see. That's what fans, and the ridiculous prices you now have to pay to go into an NBA game. That's what you try to do. You've got to change those things in the NBA. He's not doing anything. I'm not saying he's not, because I'm sure he's thinking about it, doing a commission, but you got to jump on some of those things. And if any of this gambling, you got to take care of it. And Malik, I like Malik. He was a Jazz guy. Anybody a Jazz guy other than Enes Kanter, you tend to like them, right? I mean, you tend to like them. You follow them through. Like we still watch Ochai, But if Malik did some of the things, like same thing with Malik. I'm sorry, Malik, go play in Europe, wherever, but don't be part of the NBA. So, so it'd be interesting, but I got to read this article to see if that is what's, I don't know where Silver is coming out on this, but I did see the thing about Stephen A. Smith, and I'm just like, what the heck is this guy talking about?
Yeah. If anything like this is true, it's indefensible. Like you can't justify this in any way. I mean, these people can't be a part of professional sports because they've proven unworthy of that. Like, if there's rumors that Chauncey Billups was involved in organizing poker games with organized crime and defrauding guys out of millions of dollars. I mean, it's absurd. So, and that's just part of it. So, anyway, all right, we'll let that one go. But anything else for tonight?
No, but 2 games in, competitive team.
Yep.
Playing our young guys. Thank you, Will. 4 years in it took you, but thank you. And let's look forward to this next game.
Absolutely. So please let us know your comments below about the gambling issues or anything else that of your thoughts on this, because I would actually really like to hear what other people think about this, and if they are as upset about this as we are in trying to just clean it up and give us legitimate outcomes. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So please leave those comments below, or anything related to the Jazz, and we really do like to read the comments. But anyway, for those watching on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And you can also follow us on X at Jazz Smack, and we will talk to everybody later.